How to be a genius. Introduction. Becoming a great person isn't reserved for a select few. It's available to anyone willing to grow, evolve, and harness the power of human potential. In his transformative book, How to be a Genius, or The Science of Being Great, Wallace D. Wattles provides a blueprint for unlocking your highest potential and stepping into the greatness that lies within you. With timeless wisdom and practical insights, this book summary reveals how anyone, regardless of background or circumstance, can cultivate the mindset, habits, and vision to live a truly remarkable life. Wattles teaches that greatness isn't a gift given at birth. It's a skill that can be learned and mastered. This book changed my life, and I believe it has the power to change yours too. If you're ready to think boldly, act courageously, and step into the greatness that's already within you, then turn the page. Your journey to extraordinary living begins now. Chapter 1. Any person may become great. Every person holds within them a principle of power, an inherent force that, when consciously directed, allows for unlimited growth. This power is not bound by any external limitations. Rather, it exists in the very fabric of human nature. No man has ever reached such heights that another could not surpass him. Genius is not merely talent, it is the boundless flow of omniscience into the human soul, a divine union that transcends mere skill. Talent may be an isolated gift, but true greatness is the seamless connection between man and the infinite. Great individuals are always greater than their achievements. They tap into an inexhaustible reserve of power, a force without limits. We do not know the true extent of human potential. Perhaps there is no boundary at all. Unlike the lower animals, man alone possesses the conscious ability to grow, to shape himself in any direction he chooses. The natural world follows fixed laws of development, but man has the unique capacity to expand in ways no other being can. The possibilities of what he can achieve are as vast as his imagination, for nothing conceived in thought is impossible in action. Growth is a need, not merely an option. Man must keep moving forward, just as a tree must reach the sky, since immobility breeds hopelessness. Without advancement, life becomes intolerable, and those who stop developing run the risk of developing mental illness. A person is happier when their development is more comprehensive and harmonious. Every person has the potential to be great, but no two will develop in precisely the same way. Humanity blossoms in many forms, just as a garden might have an infinite number of flowers. While one might stand like an oak, providing strength and protection, another might shine like a rose, adding color to the world. Every so-called common person has an unrealized brilliance that is just waiting to be discovered. There is no such thing as an ordinary life. History proves that in times of crisis, those dismissed as insignificant rise to greatness. The village drunkard, the idle dreamer, within them lies a force that, when stirred, can make heroes of men. In every community, there is someone to whom others turn for wisdom, someone whose insight is instinctively trusted. This power is not reserved for the select few. It belongs to anyone willing to claim it. The principle of power responds precisely to what we demand of it. If we only attempt small things, it grants us small abilities, but if we dare to undertake great things in a great way, it bestows upon us limitless strength. However, one must beware of attempting greatness in a small, timid way. There are two kinds of people: those who, like a ball, merely react to external forces, never acting of their own accord, and those who, like a spring, generate power from within. The former is ruled by circumstances, drifting through life as passive spectators. The latter shape their own destiny, radiating force and influencing the world around them. To become self-active is the highest good a person can achieve, for life itself is designed to push us toward mastery over our circumstances. In his lowest state, man is at the mercy of fate, controlled by fear and chance. He reacts but never initiates, a slave to the world around him. But within even the most primitive soul lies a power capable of conquering all fear, of rising above all limitation. When a person awakens to this truth, they cross the threshold from mere existence to true life. It is the moment of transformation, the resurrection of the spirit, the realization of divine potential. To awaken the principle of power within oneself is to step into boundless possibility. Nothing that has ever been achieved by another is beyond your reach. No man has ever possessed more mental or spiritual power than you are capable of attaining. The question is not whether greatness is within you, it is whether you will claim it. Chapter 2. The power to rise above all limits. Your path to greatness is not blocked by heredity. No matter who your ancestors were or what hardships they endured, your future is yours to shape. There is no such thing as being born into a fixed mental position. Even if the intellectual capital you inherited seems small, it can be expanded. Every human being possesses the ability to grow, and no circumstance can prevent that growth unless you allow it. Heredity may influence certain tendencies, melancholy, fear, or ill temper, but these are not permanent chains. They are habits of thought imprinted on the subconscious, echoes of past generations that can be silenced and replaced. The moment you awaken to your true power, you can cast off anything undesirable and replace it with strength, courage, and optimism. If you have inherited a tendency toward despair, you can cultivate joy. If fear has been passed down through your lineage, you can forge unshakable confidence. Nothing in your nature is beyond transformation. Some argue that the shape of the skull or the natural configuration of the brain determines destiny, and that talents and abilities are locked in place by biology. This is a falsehood. While certain faculties may be more developed at birth, the brain itself is adaptable. It grows and strengthens according to the direction of your will. With deliberate effort, any skill, any talent, no matter how small at first, can be expanded to extraordinary levels. The mind builds the brain, not the other way around. If you decide upon an ideal and move toward it with purpose, all the power of your being will be directed to the faculties necessary for its achievement. The brain cells involved will multiply, quicken, and expand in response to your determined action. You are not bound to a life dictated by circumstances. No situation, no lack of opportunity, no force outside yourself can keep you from rising unless you surrender to it. The power that created you, the force that intended you for growth, is the same power that governs the world around you. This force is never divided against itself. When you choose to move forward, the universe aligns in your favor. What once seemed like barriers dissolve, and opportunities appear where none existed before. The moment you awaken to your potential, you will find that nature, society, and even the people around you begin to work together for your advancement, so long as you act in harmony with this law. Poverty is no barrier to greatness. History is filled with those who rose from nothing. Martin Luther sang for his bread as a child. Carl Linnaeus, with only a handful of coins to his name, mended his own shoes while pursuing his education. Hugh Miller studied geology in the quarry, where he worked as an apprentice stonemason. George Stephenson, the inventor of the locomotive engine, labored in the darkness of a coal mine before his mind illuminated the world. James Watt, too frail to attend school, reshaped civilization with his discoveries. Abraham Lincoln, a poor boy with little formal education, rose to become a leader who changed the course of history. In each of these men, a principle of power stirred within them, lifting them above every hardship and every limitation. That same principle exists within you. If you recognize it, if you apply it with unwavering determination, nothing in heredity, circumstance, or environment can stand in your way. The power to rise, to transform, to achieve greatness is already within you, waiting to be awakened. Chapter 3. The hidden source of true greatness. Greatness is not measured by intellect, talent, or physical strength. A man may possess a sharp mind, a powerful body, and remarkable skills, yet if he does not use them with wisdom, he remains ordinary. Wisdom is the force that elevates a man beyond his natural abilities. It is the ability to see the best course of action and the courage to follow it. True greatness is found in the man who not only perceives the right thing to do, but also has the will and strength to do it. Wisdom is not born from reason alone. Human knowledge is limited, and with it, human wisdom is imperfect. No man, relying solely on himself, can always know what is right. But there exists a source of wisdom beyond the grasp of ordinary understanding, one that great men throughout history have tapped into. Those who have shaped the world did not rely on their own reasoning alone. They connected with something far greater, a mind that holds all truth. Abraham Lincoln, with little formal education, possessed an extraordinary ability to discern truth. When the nation stood divided, when even the wisest advisers could not agree, he remained clear and unwavering. He saw through the illusions of both the pro-slavery arguments and the reckless fanaticism of some abolitionists. He did not guess or theorize. He simply knew. And because men recognized this certainty in him, they entrusted him with the highest office. When surrounded by conflicting voices, when entire factions opposed him, his vision never wavered. His decisions, often doubted at the time, proved to be right in the end. Where did this wisdom come from? Not from superior education, nor from any physical trait. It was not merely a function of intelligence. It was something deeper, a spiritual insight, a direct perception of truth. The same force guided Washington in the darkest hours of the Revolution, holding the fragile Union together when all seemed lost. It empowered Napoleon, giving him an almost supernatural instinct in military strategy. It is the unseen hand behind all truly great men and women, a force beyond mere human intellect. Truth does not exist in isolation. It must be perceived, and it cannot be perceived without a mind that holds it. The greatest among us are those who align themselves with this infinite mind, drawing wisdom not from their own reasoning, but from a source beyond themselves. It is this connection with the divine that makes a man truly great. Chapter 4. The Infinite Mind That Holds All Truth. All things are infused with a living intelligence, a cosmic mind that permeates and sustains existence itself. This intelligence is not separate from substance, for without substance, nothing can exist. Thought cannot arise from mere motion, nor can intelligence be a product of vibration alone. Motion is simply the movement of substance, but intelligence dwells within the substance itself. Man does not think with his brain. His brain is only an instrument through which the true thinker, the spirit within, expresses thought. Just as man's spirit pervades his body and gives it life, so too does the infinite intelligence of God permeate all of nature, thinking and knowing through all things. This boundless intelligence, the mind of God, is not limited by human perspective. Man's knowledge is but a fragment, shaped by fleeting experiences and partial understandings. God's knowledge, however, is total and absolute. It encompasses everything, every movement of the stars, the rise and fall of nations, the flight of a bird, the blooming of a flower. The vast libraries of human wisdom are nothing compared to the limitless knowledge of the divine mind, which surrounds and sustains us at every moment. Every truth ever perceived by man has been drawn from this infinite reservoir, for truth cannot exist apart from a mind to hold it. Man is a thinking being, a spark of the divine, yet he is bound by limitations. The infinite mind from which he came, what Jesus called the Father, is without limit. It is the source of all power, wisdom, and truth. Jesus understood this fully and attributed all his wisdom, strength, and miracles to his oneness with the Father. "My Father and I are one," he declared. His power came not from within himself, but from his perfect attunement to divine thought. He called upon humanity to awaken spiritually, to step out of the tomb of ignorance and into the light of truth. He urged men to hear his voice, to perceive the kingdom of God within, and to receive the living wisdom that flows ceaselessly from the infinite mind. This wisdom is not reserved for prophets and saints alone. It is open to all who seek it, for God delights in giving good gifts to his children. Those who have shaped history, visionaries, poets, statesmen, and seers, were not made great by the teachings of men, but by their ability to draw upon divine intelligence. The same limitless source of power and wisdom is available to you. You may mold yourself into what you wish to be, accomplish what you set your heart upon, and obtain the knowledge necessary to fulfill your highest purpose. To do this, you must cultivate conscious unity with God. Align your mind with divine thought, and wisdom will illuminate your path. The truth shall make you free. The Spirit will guide you into all understanding. The Father will reveal all things to the willing heart. No earthly knowledge, no scholarly pursuit, no doctrine of men can compare to the revelation that comes from direct communion with the divine. For what are all the philosophies and institutions of men when one may walk alone in nature and meet with God? Chapter 5. The Path to True Greatness. To draw near to God is to align yourself with divine wisdom. Only by becoming like God can you begin to perceive His thoughts. This is the key to true greatness, for without it, inspiration remains elusive, and truth is distorted by fear, worry, and anxiety. A mind clouded by these emotions cannot see clearly, nor can it receive the wisdom that flows from the infinite source. If you are consumed by financial stress, know that the same divine power that grants wisdom is also available for material abundance. There is no need for fear. Wealth is within your reach if you align with the principles that govern its attainment. Fix this truth firmly in your mind, banishing all doubts, and walk the path that leads to prosperity. Similarly, if you are troubled by health issues, realize that you are born with the right to flawless vitality. If you follow the basic rules of life, the same intelligence that gives you mental and spiritual strength will also provide you with physical health. Illness and fear coexist, but healing starts the instant you let go of your fear and connect yourself with the truth. However, overcoming material and physical concerns is insufficient. Moral weakness must also be overcome. Analyze your heart and make your intentions pure. Put an end to selfish ambition, desire, and greed. Don't let your desire for dominance over others break your spirit. Many people fall into the trap of wanting to dominate, be admired, or surpass others. Real power comes from conquering oneself, not from controlling others. Envy must also be abandoned. There is no need to covet what another has, for the universe is abundant and you may claim all that is rightfully yours. Above all, hold no malice in your heart. Resentment severs your connection to the divine mind. He who does not love his brother cannot love God. Set aside all petty ambitions and let your only aim be the pursuit of the highest good. With unwavering determination, cast out every thought, habit, and action that does not align with your noblest ideals. This is the preparation for true greatness. Only when the mind is free of fear, the heart is pure, and the soul is aligned with divine truth can one take the next step. The treasures of wisdom, power, and abundance await, but only for those who are ready to receive them. Chapter 6. Faith, Evolution, and the Perfection of the World. Faith is the foundation of all greatness. Without it, no man or woman can rise above mediocrity. Every towering figure in history, from Lincoln in the throes of war to Washington enduring the trials of Valley Forge, possessed an unshakable faith, not merely in themselves, but in the great unseen principles that govern the universe. True faith is not the belief in one's own strength, but in the certainty that right prevails, that the divine order will bring victory in its time. This faith is what lifts ordinary people into the ranks of the extraordinary. To cultivate this faith, one must adopt the right perspective, the understanding that the world is in a constant state of evolution, always advancing, always unfolding. The universe is not a finished work, but a masterpiece in progress. From the earliest and simplest forms of life to the vast complexity of the present age, everything has been perfect in its time, though never complete. The earth was perfect in its primitive stages, just as society, government, and industry are perfect in their current forms. They may be unfinished, but they are moving toward greater completion, guided by the same divine intelligence that has shaped all of history. The world as it stands today is not broken. There is no fundamental flaw in nature, no inherent evil in society. Everything, even what appears discordant or unjust, is part of the larger process of evolution. Struggles in industry, conflicts in government, disparities in wealth. These are not signs of failure but necessary steps toward progress. The industrial titans of today, like the great creatures of prehistoric ages, serve their purpose in shaping the future. They are neither villains nor saviors. They are simply elements of an unfolding story, each playing their role in the grand design. This view may seem radical, even absurd, to those who see only the suffering and struggle in the world. How can child labor, exploitation, or vice be considered anything but evil? Yet just as the primitive customs of ancient civilizations were once necessary for human progress, the harsh conditions of modern industry reflect the current stage of our collective evolution. Humanity, in its industrial and economic life, still operates on a primitive level, driven by desires that keep society in a state of competition and struggle. But just as civilization advanced beyond the ways of the savage, so too will it rise beyond its present limitations. When the majority of people begin to desire a world governed by higher ideals, that world will manifest. Society is not decaying, it is ripening. It is not falling apart, it is being completed. This realization transforms the way we engage with the world. Instead of despairing over perceived evils, we can work with faith, knowing that we are contributing to an evolving perfection. It is not our task to repair a broken world, but to help complete an unfinished one. The reformer who believes civilization is doomed will struggle in futility, while the one who sees it as a magnificent work in progress will labor with joy, hope, and unwavering faith. When we adopt this higher perspective, fear dissolves, worry fades, and our minds expand. We cease to see obstacles as barriers and recognize them as stepping stones. We are no longer swept away by the turbulence of change, but stand firm, knowing that everything is as it should be. The only thing that can ever be truly wrong is our own attitude. And that, above all, is within our power to change. The world is not perfect in its completion, but it is perfect in its progression. Behold, it is all very good. Chapter 7. Seeing the world, others, and yourself through the eyes of perfection. Your point of view shapes your reality. If you see the world as broken and decaying, you will feel powerless. But if you see it as a magnificent work in progress, unfolding toward its destined beauty, you will live with faith and purpose. The same holds true for how you view others. No person is lost or condemned, only incomplete, moving toward their full potential. Consider a locomotive, powerful and purposeful as it moves along its tracks. If it is derailed, it does not become bad or evil. It simply needs to be set right again. So it is with people. There are no wicked souls, only those who have veered off course. They do not need judgment or punishment, only guidance back to their true path. The seed of a lily, though rough and unsightly, already contains within it the perfection of the flower. Likewise, every human being, no matter how flawed in outward appearance or action, is already perfect in their stage of development. To condemn them is as foolish as rejecting the lily before it blooms. Once you understand this, criticism and judgment fade away. You no longer see people as fallen creatures to be saved, but as divine beings completing their journey. You work not to rescue the lost, but to assist in the glorious unfolding of a perfect world. This perspective expands your mind and soul, lifting you above petty concerns and placing you in harmony with the great forces of the universe. And just as you view others in this light, so must you see yourself. Within you is a divine essence that knows no weakness, no sickness, no imperfection. Though the world around you is unfinished, the presence of God within you is whole and complete. The only thing that can ever be wrong is your own attitude, and even that can be corrected. Embrace this truth, and fear will leave you. Doubt will fade. You will no longer shrink from challenges, for you will know that you are not broken, only evolving. You are a perfect expression of the infinite, and you are pressing forward to your completeness. With this realization, you will walk through life with strength, peace, and an unwavering sense of purpose. Chapter 8. Surrendering to the Higher Self. Once you have aligned your perspective with the truth of an evolving, magnificent world and recognize the divinity within yourself and others, the next step is consecration. True consecration is not about blind adherence to external doctrines or traditions. It is the sacred act of surrendering to the highest and purest force within you. It is obedience to the soul, the divine power that is always guiding you upward. To attain true greatness, you must follow this inner voice without hesitation or compromise. Many believe that intellect and reason are the keys to power, but these faculties alone can never make one truly great. The mind can justify anything, whether noble or corrupt. A sharp intellect can be used to uplift humanity or to manipulate and destroy. It has no inherent morality. True greatness does not arise from reason alone, but from aligning the mind with the pure and unchanging principles of the soul. Only by listening to this inner truth can one find the right course of action in every situation. Too often, people allow outdated beliefs and social customs to dictate their lives, clinging to ideas they have long outgrown. Many engage in habits that weaken them, indulge in fears that keep them small, and act selfishly even when they know better. To rise above this, one must abandon all that diminishes personal power. It is not necessary to reject all societal norms, but one must refuse to be constrained by narrow and limiting traditions. The pursuit of greatness requires breaking free from obsolete institutions, unfounded fears, and the small-minded thinking that holds so many in bondage. True consecration means aligning thought, action, and intention with the highest conception of truth that one can grasp. It is not enough to think noble thoughts, one must live them. The person whose practice falls short of their ideals will remain stagnant. True power comes from absolute integrity between what one believes and how one acts. Every relationship, every business dealing, every interaction, especially with family and close associates, must be conducted with grace, kindness, and an unwavering commitment to one's highest self. To live as anything less is to betray the infinite power within. To be great, one must rule from above, never allowing physical impulses or fleeting desires to dictate actions. The body must be subject to the mind, but even the mind, if left unchecked, can lead to selfishness. Therefore, the mind must submit to the soul, and the soul itself must surrender to the divine intelligence that governs all. There is no need to struggle for control. The infinite wisdom of the universe is always present, always available, requiring no effort to understand, only willingness to trust. The essence of authentic consecration is giving up control of the body to the mind, giving up control of the mind to the soul, and giving up the soul to the divine. Unlocking an incalculable reservoir of power is taking this step fully and without hesitation. It is the starting point for a life of incredible power, fulfillment, and purpose. It is the second big step toward ultimate greatness. Chapter 9. The Awakening to Divine Oneness. Having aligned yourself with the advancing presence of God in nature, humanity, and within your own soul, the next step is to fully recognize and embrace the truth that the power within you is God Himself. This is not a belief to be adopted, but a reality to be acknowledged. You are already one with the divine. You need only to become fully aware of it. All that exists originates from a single conscious substance, the source of all creation. This substance holds within itself infinite intelligence and power, and since you exist as part of it, you too contain that same intelligence and power. There is no separation between you and the divine. Man is not something different from God. He is God in form, an extension of the infinite, endowed with all the possibilities of the divine mind. The intelligence that governs the universe is the same intelligence that resides within you. It is written, "Ye are gods," and indeed every human being carries within them the full potential of the Creator. Yet man's consciousness is limited, unaware of the vast knowledge and infinite wisdom available to him. To transcend this limitation, he must unite his mind with the infinite mind that surrounds him, the universal intelligence that holds all knowledge, past, present, and future. This divine mind is closer than breath, nearer than the beating of the heart, containing the memory of all that has ever been and all that will be. In it lies the great purpose of existence, and through conscious identification with it, man can align with that purpose. Jesus spoke this truth, declaring, "I and my Father are one, and the Spirit shall guide you into all truth." The path to this divine union is through recognition and surrender. One must acknowledge that there is only God, that all intelligence and power belong to the One, and affirm, I surrender myself to conscious unity with the highest. Not I, but the Father. I am one with infinite consciousness. When this realization becomes absolute, when one fully embraces the truth of their divine nature, all power becomes available. Fear dissolves, limitation vanishes, and the mind is no longer bound by ignorance. The barriers between self and the infinite fall away, and life becomes an expression of divine intelligence. Once this union is achieved, the power you seek is no longer something to strive for. It is simply yours, for you have become one with all the power there is. Chapter 10. The Power of the Idealized Self. You are a thinking center within the infinite substance of creation, and your thoughts possess the power to shape reality. Whatever you hold as a clear and definite thought form within your mind must eventually manifest in the material world. A thought, once impressed upon the infinite intelligence of the universe, is not a fleeting idea, but a living reality, awaiting its moment of visible expression. If you desire something, you must first form a vivid and unwavering image of it in your mind. See yourself as already possessing what you seek, embodying the strength, health, and success you wish to experience. Hold this image with absolute faith, knowing that it must take shape in the world around you, provided you do not act in ways that contradict the laws governing creation. Picture yourself as the best possible version of who you wish to become. Let your ideal be as close to perfection as your imagination can conceive, for it is through this process that transformation occurs. Consider the young law student who envisions himself as a great attorney, commanding the courtroom with eloquence and wisdom. Though still a student, he holds in his mind the image of mastery, carrying himself in thought as the accomplished lawyer he aspires to be. The creative energies within and beyond him respond to this mental blueprint, drawing to him the knowledge, opportunities, and abilities required to fulfill it. The same law applies to the musician, the actor, the farmer, the mechanic. Whoever holds the image of greatness within themselves sets into motion the forces that will bring it into reality. The world may offer advice, but no one can truly know what is right for you better than your own soul. Listen, but always form your own conclusions. Do not allow duty, obligation, or the opinions of others to confine you to a lesser path. Your highest responsibility is to become the fullest expression of yourself, for in being true to yourself, you can never be false to another. Once you have chosen your ideal, embrace it fully. See it not as a distant dream, but as an undeniable truth about yourself. Guard it against doubt, ignore those who scoff at your vision, and never waver in your belief. History has shown that those who held firm to their inner vision, like Napoleon, who saw himself as a general long before he became one, inevitably realized their dreams. Hold to your vision, align with the creative force of the universe, and you will become all that you aspire to be. Chapter 11. The Path to True Realization. To stop at the vision alone is to remain a dreamer, a builder of castles in the air. Many falter here, believing that merely shaping a thought form is enough to bring it into existence, but true greatness is not found in dreams alone. It is realized through action. Once you have formed the image of what you desire to be, you must begin living it, embodying it in every moment, however small or ordinary. Though the world may not yet recognize you as the great actor, lawyer, musician, or leader you know yourself to be, you must act as such in all that you do. The secret lies in bringing the full power of your soul into even the smallest tasks. Every act, no matter how routine, must be done with purpose, excellence, and an unwavering awareness of your own greatness. Do not proclaim it with words, live it. Let your family, friends, and those around you sense it in your actions. True greatness is never loud. It is seen in quiet strength, generosity, courtesy, and in unwavering integrity. Most important of all, you must have absolute faith in your own perception of truth. Do not rush, do not act in fear, and do not let the noise of the world shake your confidence. When you feel deep within that a certain course of action is right, follow it with unwavering trust, regardless of how unreasonable it may seem to others. The ability to perceive truth is a faculty that grows stronger with use. If you doubt your inner knowing in small matters, you will never develop the ability to trust it in greater ones. But if you learn to recognize the voice of truth in everyday affairs, soon you will be guided with certainty in all things. Trust that the infinite intelligence that governs the universe is as present in the smallest details of your life as it is in the grand movements of nations. If you feel with absolute conviction that you are meant to be in a certain place at a certain time, go there and trust that the forces of the universe are working in harmony with your perception. If you sense that unseen events are unfolding, trust that knowledge and act accordingly. At first, you may falter, for understanding the voice of the within takes practice, but with time you will find that your guidance is almost always right. As your wisdom becomes evident, those around you will begin to recognize your greatness. Family and friends will turn to you for counsel, and soon even those beyond your immediate circle will seek your insight. By proving yourself great in small things, you will be called upon to take charge of greater things. This is the path to mastery, to trust yourself completely, to follow the truth as it is revealed to you, and to act with unwavering faith. Do not think of yourself as one who stumbles or errs, but as one whose perception is guided by the highest intelligence. You are not here to seek the approval of others. You are here to walk in truth, knowing that all things will unfold as they must. Chapter 12. The Power of Patience and Habit. In life, pressing concerns may seem to demand immediate action. Financial troubles, strained relationships, and obligations that appear urgent. But the greatest mistake is to rush forward in fear. Hurry is nothing more than a symptom of doubt, a lack of trust in the divine intelligence that governs all things. There is no need to force solutions. Everything you seek is already moving toward you, just as you are moving toward it. The same power that resides within you also resides in the things you desire, drawing them to you with the same force that drives your longing for them. If you hold your thoughts steady and your faith unshaken, everything will align in perfect time. Fear disrupts this natural harmony. It weakens the connection between you and the infinite mind, cutting you off from wisdom, strength, and true guidance. The moment you feel rushed, anxious, or desperate, step back, breathe, center yourself in the understanding that nothing is truly going wrong. What appears as chaos is often just the reshuffling of circumstances, the unseen forces at work, bringing you exactly what you need. A hurried mind is a weak mind, but a calm mind is powerful beyond measure. Strength and poise are inseparable. When you act with unshakable confidence, trusting in the perfection of the universe, you will never be too late, never be too early, and never misstep. Equally important is mastering the power of habit. Your greatest challenge will not be external obstacles, but the deeply ingrained patterns of thought that hold you back. The world itself is shaped by habit. People accept their circumstances simply because they have been conditioned to do so. Governments, social structures, and institutions exist in their current form only because the masses have made a habit of believing in them. Change the habitual thought, and you change reality itself. You have likely developed habits of thinking that limit you. Perhaps you see yourself as ordinary, as someone with little power, as one who struggles and falls short. But whatever you habitually think yourself to be, that is what you become. It is not occasional affirmations of greatness that shape your destiny, but the persistent, underlying thoughts that dominate your mind throughout the day. You cannot declare yourself powerful in the morning and then carry self-doubt for the rest of the day and expect transformation. True change comes when the belief in your limitless nature becomes second nature, when it takes root so deeply that it colors every perception, every action, every interaction. To master your life, you must master your habitual thoughts. The words you repeat are not magic, but they serve a purpose, to rewire your mind, to shift the way you see yourself until no other version is possible. Thought, not circumstance, has created the reality you now experience. And it is through thought, discipline, and unwavering that you will create a new reality. Do not merely speak words of power, feel them, embody them, and live them until they become the unshakable foundation of who you are. Chapter 13. shaping destiny through the mind. True greatness begins within. No man can rise above his circumstances until he first elevates his thinking. It is not knowledge alone that creates greatness, but the depth and originality of thought. Many people consume books endlessly, mistaking information for wisdom, but reading without reflection leads nowhere. Only through deep contemplation do ideas take root and transform a person from the inside out. Thinking is not easy. It is the hardest work of all, and for this reason, many seek to avoid it. The relentless pursuit of distractions, entertainment, social amusements, the constant craving for diversion, serves one purpose: to escape the effort of thought. But without thought there is no growth. Without great thoughts, no great men emerge. In an age where leaders and thinkers focus on trivial concerns, true statesmen are rare. The giants of the past, those who shaped nations, stood for justice and changed the world, engaged with profound and eternal truths. They contemplated human rights, ethics, and justice, allowing such thoughts to mold them into powerful figures. Today, society fixates on material concerns, measuring success in dollars rather than principles, and so it produces few individuals of real stature. To become great, one must think beyond the superficial and wrestle with the deepest truths of existence. Thinking is an act of creation. Every thought generates another, unlocking hidden faculties of the mind, awakening new abilities, and revealing depths of intelligence previously untapped. Heredity, environment, and circumstance hold no power over the individual who engages in sustained, original thought. Yet those who rely solely on the ideas of others, without forging their own, remain forever bound by limitation. The external world is but a reflection of internal thought. Every action, every circumstance, every environment is shaped by the mind. Change your thoughts, and you change your world. At the core of this truth lies a profound realization. The universe is perfect, unfolding exactly as it should, and you exist within it as a part of this divine intelligence. There is no disorder, no misstep, no accident, only the working of a higher principle guiding all things toward ultimate harmony. To grasp this is to free oneself from fear, doubt, and limitation. There is no failure for the one who aligns his thoughts with this supreme intelligence, for all wisdom and power are his to claim. To say, "I will obey my soul," is to make a vow that will transform life itself. It means surrendering to the highest self, allowing divine intelligence to lead, and trusting that every action will unfold in perfect alignment with universal law. To think like a god is to act like one. The greatest destinies are shaped not by mere ambition, but by the magnitude of thought behind them. Think deeply, think powerfully, and in doing so, shape yourself into the being you were meant to become. Chapter 14. Greatness begins now. Do not wait to become great. Be great now. Do not convince yourself that greatness will emerge once you reach a new environment, meet different people, or attain some distant success. It must begin exactly where you stand, in the smallest details of your daily life. Greatness is not conferred by circumstances. It is revealed through the way you handle them. If you cannot act with dignity and power in your present moment, no change of scenery will ever make you great. Consider Lincoln, who was no less great as a humble lawyer than he was as president. He did small things with immense integrity, and that very quality carried him to the highest office. Had he waited for a more suitable stage, history would have forgotten him. Do not wait for permission, approval, or better conditions. Rise now. True greatness does not rely on the approval of others. If people neglect you, misunderstand you, or fail to appreciate you, it does not hinder your ability to act with nobility. A truly great soul, like God himself, does not withdraw kindness because it is unrecognized. Treat all, even the ungrateful, with grace. But beware of falling into the trap of superiority. You are not greater than others. You may have found a path they have yet to walk, but they are complete on their own journey. Those who boast of their virtues and judge the failures of others shrink into smallness. The truly great stand among equals, neither seeking recognition nor demanding honor, for such things come naturally to those who deserve them. Greatness begins at home. It is easy to impress strangers, but the true measure of a person is how they act among those closest to them. If you can remain calm, kind, and composed with your family, if you can be a source of strength in difficult times, then you are truly great. Yet do not mistake servitude for nobility. Helping others does not mean becoming their slave. Those who demand too much, who expect to be served without effort of their own, are better off learning self-reliance. To wait on others unnecessarily is not kindness but harm, for it weakens them. The ideal world is not one where some serve while others take, but one where all rise to their own responsibilities. Do not meddle in the affairs of those around you, even those you love most. Their habits, their choices, their paths, these are their own, and you do not improve upon the work of the universe by interfering. Correct only yourself, and you will find that all else falls into place. If you can live among others without criticism, without trying to mold them to your liking, without demanding they conform to your standards, then you have reached a rare height of wisdom. Walk as a god among gods, never as a superior among inferiors. Greatness is not found in dominance, nor in submission, but in perfect balance, where dignity, kindness, and wisdom flow effortlessly through all that you do. Chapter 15. Living as a God among Gods. The world is already perfect, and you are a god among the gods. There is no one greater than you, yet all are your equals. Walk with the certainty that your inner light is the truest guide, beyond reason and beyond doubt. Trust that wisdom will unfold within you exactly when you need it. There is no need to rush, no need to worry. Greatness is never hurried, never anxious. Remember Lincoln in the darkest days of the war. While the nation despaired, he remained unwavering. Men from every corner of the country entered his presence filled with doubt and left renewed with hope. He had no need to explain himself or demand recognition. He simply was great, and in that presence others found their own strength. This is the essence of power, not the pursuit of status or approval, but the unshakable faith in one's ability to meet any challenge. Do not be disturbed by loneliness, for when the time is right, the right people will be drawn to you. Do not be troubled by ignorance, for when you are ready, the knowledge you need will arrive. If there is a person you must meet, the universe will place them before you. If there is a book you must read, it will find its way into your hands. The same force that moves you forward is moving everything you need toward you. Awaken your faculties and let your mind expand. As you begin to think in a greater way, your brain will be transformed into a more powerful instrument, creating new pathways, activating dormant abilities, and preparing you for what lies ahead. But do not attempt to rush into great things before you are ready. True greatness is not found in large achievements, but in the quality of the smallest actions. Doing great things will not make you great. Becoming great will naturally lead to the doing of great things. Never seek recognition. True greatness is never pursued, it is lived. If you begin today to carry yourself with wisdom and strength without seeking applause or validation, people will naturally come to rely on you. They will see something in you, though they may not fully understand what it is. But be cautious. Your role is not to interfere with others or impose your beliefs upon them. Live as an example, and let that be your message. Do not waste time correcting the habits or morality of others. If they seek your guidance, offer it freely, but never force your will upon anyone. Those who live greatly in silence will inspire more souls than those who preach endlessly. You do not need to explain your path to others. When you are truly aligned with higher wisdom, it will be evident in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself. There is no need to prove anything. The world will recognize the presence of something extraordinary, without you ever needing to announce it. Do not imagine that greatness is found in dramatic gestures or grand displays. You are not called to charge through the world, disrupting everything in your path, seeking ways to prove your worth. Instead, live a great life where you are now. In the quiet, in the ordinary, in the unseen moments, the essence of greatness is shaped, and when the time is right, great works will seek you out. Recognize the divine in every person you meet, whether rich or poor, powerful or humble, all are perfect in their own way. Treat each soul with the same reverence you would grant a king, for in truth there is no distinction. All are divine beings, and you walk among them as an equal. Hold in your mind the vision of who you are becoming. See yourself as you wish to be, and know that it is already unfolding. Speak with the wisdom of one who knows their words shape reality. Act with the strength of one who understands that even the smallest deed holds immense power. Walk with the presence of one who knows they are divine. In doing so, your transformation will be inevitable, and the path before you will open in ways beyond imagination. Chapter 16. The world is not broken, it is advancing. For too long we have been misled into believing that the world is a sinking ship, doomed to destruction, and that our only hope is to salvage what little we can before the inevitable end. This view drains us of hope, narrows our vision, and makes us see everything as flawed, spiraling downward. But this is an illusion. The world is not wrecked. It is a grand and powerful vessel, perfectly equipped, moving toward a destination of harmony and fulfillment. If there is discord, it is not because the world is failing, but because we are still learning how to navigate. Every challenge is merely a course correction, every apparent setback a lesson in steering toward a greater destiny. The world is growing better, and so are we. Once we recognize this, our minds expand, our confidence strengthens, and we begin to move with certainty, knowing that all things, our personal lives, our aspirations, and even the larger course of human history, are moving toward completeness. There is no force working against you except your own resistance to this truth. When you align yourself with the infinite, when you see yourself as part of a world that is not in decay but in growth, you become unstoppable. No failure can touch you, no misfortune can hinder you. You are part of an advancing universe, and you must advance with it. Your life and environment take shape from the thoughts you habitually hold. If you see the world as lost, you will see yourself as lost within it. But if you recognize its divine unfolding, you will see yourself as a vital force within that great movement. You are not separate from creation. You are made of the same essence as the divine. Every power that moves the universe is within you. The world is advancing, and so are you. Embrace this truth, and nothing can stand in your way. Chapter 17. The power that shapes your destiny. You will never achieve greatness until your thoughts make you great. Everything begins in the internal world, and the external is merely a reflection of what is cultivated within. To think greatly, you must think about truth, not just in a casual or superficial way, but with deep sincerity. Truth and greatness walk hand in hand, and sincerity is the foundation upon which all powerful thought is built. No amount of logic or brilliance can replace the weight of an honest and true mind. Understanding human relations is key. To see the world correctly, you must study, reflect, and think deeply about what humanity is and what your role in it should be. When you grasp the grand design of existence, you begin to see that God is not an external force to be sought outside yourself. He is within you. The realization of your unity with the divine is not something to be merely acknowledged but deeply felt. It is the most profound truth you can come to understand, and once you do, you recognize that everything you need is already within you. Power, wisdom, and greatness are not things you must chase. They are within, waiting to be used. Your only responsibility is to align your thoughts with truth and act upon it. Each day, live up to the truth you can see, and by doing so, greater truth will unfold before you. Rid yourself of false ideas, stop focusing on human failings, and instead, see the greatness in every soul. Do not dwell on flaws and mistakes. Look for virtues, for the light that shines in each person. This shift in thinking is not always easy. It requires willpower. But that is the very purpose of will, to direct your thoughts toward what is true, noble, and uplifting. There are those who understand this deeply, those whose very presence transforms the world around them. Consider Eugene Fee Debs, a man who revered humanity with such sincerity that no one who encountered him remained untouched. Whether speaking to a millionaire, a laborer, a worn-out mother, or a ragged child, he gave them all the same warmth, the same radiant affection, and the same recognition of their worth. This love for humanity made him not just a leader, but a force that moved millions. And it was all born of thought. Greatness is achieved through thinking, and the world has always been shaped by those who dare to think for themselves. Original thinkers, those who see past convention and seek truth on their own terms, are the architects of progress. Their thoughts turn the tides of history, while those who merely borrow the ideas of others remain bound by the past. Your thoughts shape your life more than any external influence. Friends and circumstances come and go, but the thoughts you hold become the very fabric of your existence. Think deeply, think originally, and think nobly. The world does not change by accident. It changes when great thinkers arise. And when God releases a great thinker into the world, nothing remains the same. Ideas transform everything. Your task is clear. Think, think, think. Chapter 18. The Power of Service. Jesus drew a sharp distinction between true and false greatness, warning against the most insidious of temptations, the desire for power over others. In the 23rd chapter of Matthew, he cautioned against the ways of the Pharisees, men who were just and righteous in appearance but craved recognition, titles, and positions of honor. In contrast, he declared, "He that will be great among you, let him serve." The world, however, has long held a different view. To many, greatness is measured by dominion, the ability to command, control, and bend others to one's will. History is stained with blood from wars waged for power, kings and rulers expanding their empires not for the love of their people, but for the love of control. Even in business, the same struggle continues. Wealth is pursued not merely for comfort, but as a means to wield influence over others. The endless chase for money, as seen in men like Rockefeller and Carnegie, was never about wealth itself, but the power it brought. This, Jesus warned, is the way of the Pharisee, not the path to true greatness. Contrast this with Abraham Lincoln, a man whose greatness is universally recognized. It was not his political acumen or his ability to command that made him truly great. It was his spirit of service. Unlike Napoleon, who sought power for himself, Lincoln dedicated himself to the service of others, and in doing so became a figure of enduring greatness. True greatness does not come from elevating oneself above others, but from lifting others up. However, there is a danger of misunderstanding this principle. Some believe that complete self-sacrifice, a life given entirely to the needs of others, is the way to true greatness. This misconception has led many to diminish themselves, thinking they are following the example of Christ. But Jesus did not teach self-abnegation to the point of losing oneself. He taught a balance of service and purpose. To live solely for the needs of others without developing one's own strength is not true service. It is weakness disguised as virtue. The Swedish philosopher Swedenborg echoed Jesus' teachings, dividing humanity into two groups, those who live by pure love and those who seek power for their own gain. He recognized that the love of ruling over others is the root of all sin, and that even those who claim to love God can fall into the trap of tyranny. A love for humanity alone can lead to meddling and control, just as a love for God alone can breed religious oppression. True greatness lies in pure love, not love for dominance, not love for servitude, but a love that uplifts, strengthens, and serves with wisdom. Jesus' message remains as relevant today as it was then. Greatness is not found in seeking high places, nor in surrendering one's identity for others. It is found in service, not servility, not domination, but in a life dedicated to truth, purpose, and the uplifting of all. Chapter 19. The Divine Unfolding. Surrounded by suffering, injustice, and ignorance, it is natural to feel the urge to dedicate one's life to alleviating the world's pain. Yet, to fully understand our role, we must shift our perspective. This is not a world doomed to misery, but one in the process of becoming. The struggles of today are not signs of failure, but steps in a grand evolution, one guided by a higher force shaping humanity toward its ultimate destiny. There was a time when Earth was nothing but a burning mass, a molten world incapable of sustaining life. Slowly, the planet cooled, waters formed, and from the depths of the unknown, life emerged. It began with the simplest of organisms, single-celled and fragile, yet infused with an irresistible force, the divine urge to expand, evolve, and create. This same life force pressed forward, multiplying into complex forms, shaping plants, animals, and ultimately a new being unlike any before, man. The first man was not the towering intellect of today, but a crude, primitive creature, little different in form from the beasts around him. Yet within him lay something extraordinary, a seed of infinite potential. The ability to think, to create, to dream of art, beauty, music, and civilization existed within him, waiting for the right moment to unfold. He too was perfect for his time, just as all things created by God are perfect in their season. From that moment, a divine work began, a relentless force moving within humanity, pushing it toward something greater. St. Paul spoke of it. It is God that worketh in you to will and to do of his good pleasure. With each generation, more of the divine spirit was poured into mankind. Civilization rose from the crude foundations of tribal life, and though the journey was marked by brutality, oppression, and ignorance, it was always progressing. Governments, religions, and societies were once violent and unjust, but these were the early, unrefined stages of an unfolding masterpiece. It is easy to look back upon the barbarism of history and question why suffering was allowed to exist. But the process of evolution requires stages, each one necessary, each one paving the way for something higher. The human race had to develop its faculties in stages, just as a child must first crawl before it can run. The lower instincts, aggression, survival, dominance, had to reach their peak before the higher qualities of compassion, wisdom, and love could emerge. Throughout history, certain individuals rose above their time, hearing the voice of God more clearly than the rest. These were the prophets, the seers, the visionaries who glimpsed the future and were compelled to speak. Some were kings, others priests, but many were martyrs, sacrificed to reveal truths the world was not yet ready to accept. Yet their voices never faded. They became the foundation upon which new ages were built. Even what we call evil is not outside this grand design. The corruption, the injustice, the suffering, they are not permanent fixtures of existence, but transient elements of an unfinished world. Just as prehistoric creatures once roamed the earth, playing their part before vanishing into history, so too will the injustices of today be swept away when they have fulfilled their purpose. Every stage of evolution has its necessary elements, and once they are no longer needed, they dissolve into the past. But why? Why this grand unfolding? What is the purpose of it all? The answer is clear. God seeks to express himself fully, not in abstract form, but in living, conscious beings who can reflect his highest nature. The goal of evolution is not the perfection of a select few, but the glorification of the entire human race. The time will come when the divine kingdom will be fully realized on earth, when suffering and struggle will be no more. This is the vision seen by the prophet of Patmos, the day when the former things shall pass away, when there will be no more pain, no more tears, and no more night. The process is not yet complete, but the path is clear. We are not merely passive observers in this evolution, we are participants, carriers of the divine spark, co-creators in the unfolding of God's greatest work. Chapter 20. Serving God by Becoming Great. Many sincere and earnest individuals wrestle with the question of duty, especially when they embark on a journey of self-improvement and greatness. They find themselves compelled to reshape their relationships, sometimes alienating friends and misunderstanding family members. The truly great individual is often seen as selfish by those who believe they should bestow more benefits upon others. This raises a fundamental dilemma. Is one's primary duty to oneself to reach one's highest potential at any cost, or should one wait until the pursuit of greatness causes no disruption to others? One must first comprehend what it is to serve God in order to completely appreciate the essence of obligation. Many people devote a great deal of their energy to religious activity because they think that structured worship, rituals, and ceremonies are the only ways to serve God. But spiritual teachings and history show differently. Moses led the Hebrews out of Egypt so they may serve God in their truest capacity, not so they could carry out ceremonies in the wilderness. Subsequent revelations revealed that God was not very interested in sacrifices and offerings. According to St. Paul, God has nothing, so man cannot do anything for him. If we look at history through the lens of evolution, we see God seeking expression through humanity, guiding the race toward higher levels of consciousness and achievement. Each generation becomes more refined, desiring better homes, more fulfilling work, greater knowledge, and richer experiences. This natural discontent is not a flaw, but the Spirit of God urging humanity forward. Just as early humans once lived in primitive conditions without complaint, the modern individual, exposed to greater possibilities, cannot be expected to be content with less than they can conceive. This longing for progress is divine. It is God working within us, urging us toward higher states of being. Therefore, genuine service to God is found in letting God fully reveal himself through us, rather than in meaningless rituals. In order to completely perceive God's presence through one's life, the only significant service one can provide is to grow to the fullest extent possible, expanding in wisdom, strength, and capacity. God wants to express our limitless potential through each of us if we are ready to develop our minds, bodies, and souls appropriately. This is similar to how an untrained child's hand cannot bring forth the music in his soul. Thus, becoming as wonderful as one can be is one's greatest responsibility to God, to oneself, and to the world. The issue of duty to others is likewise resolved by this realization. Some people feel that they must stay in their current position because they have obligations to their family or dependents and are scared to go on for fear of creating short-term difficulty. But in the long run, everyone gains from real progress. One eventually generates more resources and possibilities by daringly striving for excellence, not only for oneself, but also for those who are left behind. In the short term, what could seem like loss or suffering is frequently a necessary shift that will yield much greater rewards later on. The world does not need more sermons or passive teaching. It needs living demonstrations. The masses who struggle to grasp these principles will not be convinced by words alone, but by visible proof. Those who achieve greatness light the way for others, proving what is possible and inspiring them to follow. Therefore, the highest calling is not to preach, but to embody these truths through personal success. By making the most of oneself, one serves as a beacon for others, helping to shape a world where future generations can rise with greater ease. In the end, duty is not about self-sacrifice or denial, but about fulfilling the divine purpose embedded within. To serve God is to become all that one was created to be, allowing his power to manifest fully in one's life. This is the truest path to greatness and the only service that truly matters. Chapter 21. A mental exercise for transformation. There is no magic in words alone. No phrase, no incantation, no repeated mantra can alter reality unless it is infused with true, directed thought. Transformation does not come from mere repetition, but from consciously choosing thoughts that shape the mind and forming new habits of thinking until they become second nature. It is not about reciting lines, but about embedding these ideas deeply into the fabric of our being. A mental exercise is valuable only when it serves as a gateway to habitual, purposeful thought. The objective is not to think a certain way for a few moments each day and then forget it, but to train the mind to hold these ideas constantly, shaping one's reality from within. When practiced with understanding, such exercises become powerful tools of change. Taken without understanding, they are useless at best and self-deceptive at worst. To begin, set aside time free from interruption. Find a comfortable place to recline, allowing the body to relax completely. Let tension fade, releasing any strain from head to toe. As the body rests, the mind follows, shedding anxieties and distractions. This moment is for alignment, for harmonizing the physical, mental, and spiritual self. In this state of ease, direct attention to the body. Feel the nerves calm and strong, obeying the will with effortless precision. Let the breath deepen, expanding the lungs fully, bringing life and purity to every cell. Envision the heart beating with a steady, unwavering rhythm, circulating vitality to every extremity. See the body's intricate systems functioning in perfect harmony: digestion, circulation, renewal, all working without pain, without strain, just as they are meant to. Now turn inward. Release all worry. There is no need for fear, no place for doubt. All things are moving toward you, orchestrated by a divine intelligence beyond comprehension. Health is yours. Abundance is yours. Peace is yours. The external world holds no power over the calm certainty that resides within. Rise above temptation, casting aside selfish desires, envy, and malice. There is no enemy, no opposition, only a universe unfolding in perfect order, even when the mind cannot always perceive it. Nothing is wrong with the world. The only thing that can be misaligned is one's own attitude. And that, in this moment, is set right. Commit to truth. Follow only the highest ideals. Express only the noblest thoughts. Let go of what no longer serves you, and embrace only that which elevates and expands. The body is but a vessel to be guided by the mind. The mind itself surrenders to the soul, and the soul walks in unity with the infinite. There is but one great source, and from it you have come. It moves through you, breathes in you, speaks through you. You and the divine are not separate. You are one. Now, see yourself as you are meant to be, not as you have been, not as circumstances have dictated, but as the highest vision of yourself. Hold that image. Let it impress upon your being. This is not a mere aspiration. It is reality, waiting to manifest. It is already true in essence, now unfolding in form. With this realization, rise with renewed strength. Step forward with confidence, for all power is yours. There is nothing to fear, nothing to doubt. The divine moves within you, and with it you will accomplish mighty works. Go forth, not as one hoping, but as one knowing. The path is clear, and you are ready to walk it. Chapter 22. The Path to True Greatness. Every human being carries within them the seed of greatness. We are all made of the same divine substance, endowed with limitless potential and capable of manifesting extraordinary power. The key to true greatness is not found in external circumstances, nor is it dictated by heredity. Rather, it is unlocked through the conscious direction of the soul. When the soul asserts itself as the governing force of the mind and body, it transcends ignorance, dissolves limitations, and connects with the universal intelligence that pervades all things. Universal Spirit is the source of all knowledge, the fabric from which all existence is woven. To align with it is to gain access to boundless wisdom and infinite power. But such unity requires a shedding of all that separates us from the divine. One must rise above moral temptation, relinquish self-serving ambitions, and forsake all actions that fall short of the highest ideals. The path to greatness demands the right perspective, an unwavering recognition that all things, including society, nature, and human progress, are precisely as they should be, evolving toward ultimate completion. There is no error in the grand design, only the misunderstanding of those who fail to see the hand of the divine at work. To attain this heightened state of being, one must consecrate oneself to their highest calling. Within every soul burns an inner light, an ever-present impulse toward truth, virtue, and the sublime. It is this light that must be followed above all else, for in doing so one becomes a conscious co-creator with God. The realization of one's divine nature is the cornerstone of greatness. To recognize oneself as a god among gods is not arrogance, but truth. It is an acknowledgement of the infinite potential residing within and the power to shape reality itself. Faith in one's own perception of truth is paramount. Action must follow conviction, beginning in the smallest matters of daily life. One must cease acting thoughtlessly and instead cultivate sincerity, thinking deliberately and acting with purpose. A mental image of one's highest self must be formed and held steadfastly, allowing it to become the defining thought of one's existence. This self-conception must be more than a fleeting aspiration. It must be lived, expressed in every deed, no matter how trivial. When every action, every word, and every interaction reflects this ideal, greatness is already attained. True greatness is unmistakable. It does not need to announce itself, for it is evident in the very being of the individual. The great man or woman radiates power, inspiring admiration and attracting opportunity effortlessly. Such a person is guided by inspiration, receiving knowledge and insight as if from a divine wellspring. Material abundance flows naturally, for they understand that wealth is but a manifestation of thought. Challenges and obstacles cease to be hindrances. Instead, they become the raw material for further expansion. Those who walk this path will find that they are sought after, honored, and revered, not for fleeting accomplishments, but for the sheer presence of their being. The essence of this philosophy is beautifully captured in Emerson's reflections on the Oversoul. He speaks of a universal essence that pervades all things, a divine consciousness that flows through humanity like an unceasing river. Man is not merely a thinking creature. He is the vessel through which divine intelligence expresses itself. This soul, this infinite wisdom, is not something external to be sought. It is the very core of one's existence. To live in alignment with it is to move beyond limitation, beyond the narrow constraints of personality, into the boundless realm of pure being. Greatness, then, is not measured by status, wealth, or worldly accolades. It is an ascent of the soul, a metamorphosis from the ordinary to the extraordinary. Like a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly, the journey unfolds not in a straight line, but in profound leaps of consciousness. It is not an achievement to be acquired, but a state of being to be realized. The soul does not climb the ladder of merit step by step. Rather, it expands in all directions, breaking through barriers of thought and perception. Every act of true greatness is an expression of the divine impulse, a manifestation of the infinite within the finite. In surrendering to this higher calling, one moves beyond the realm of human limitation. The mind ceases to be confined by intellect alone and becomes an instrument of divine wisdom. The heart transcends mere emotion and becomes a conduit of boundless love. This is the nature of true power, the kind that does not dominate but elevates, that does not seek to possess but to give. The truly great do not measure progress by conventional standards, but by their alignment with the eternal. Their influence is not dictated by force, but by the natural authority of their presence. Their words resonate beyond the moment, carrying the weight of universal truth. To embrace this path is to awaken to the highest vision of oneself, to step into the full brilliance of one's own being. It is to recognize that the only true limits are those imposed by thought, and that by changing one's thinking, one changes one's reality. The soul is not a fragment of the whole. It is the whole, contained within the individual. And when this truth is lived, the barriers between the self and the infinite dissolve, leaving only the vast, boundless light of divine consciousness. This is the science of being great, not as an abstract ideal, but as a living, breathing reality.